Chapter 1176, Plot. In the face of the angel's embrace, Colin Iliad wasn't astonished. He accepted everything with a calm expression, as though he was already prepared. The ritual began. He took a step forward, picked up the silver night potion, and poured it into his mouth. Without a sound, this demon hunter's body swelled up, turning into a grayish-blue giant with bluish-black veins covering him. He stood several meters tall, with black cracks on his forehead. Every inch of this giant contained the indescribable power of mystery and terror. Apart from his head, which still retained the appearance of a human, the rest of his body was akin to a mythical creature that exerted a strange mental influence. In the next second, the skull underlying Colin Iliad's head seemed to soften as it sank inwards. With the black crack as its core, his head slowly squirmed, as though it was forming a nebulous vortex. Such pain made the city of Silver's chief, who had killed many powerful creatures, unable to restrain himself. He let out a series of howling cries that could make the minds of ordinary creatures split apart. If it wasn't for the fact that Colin Iliad had already evacuated the members of the Spire in advance, leaving behind only the demigod-level Waite Chermont to watch over him and prevent any accidents from happening, many Beyonders would have definitely lost control. The remains of the 6 powerful living creatures that were situated in different spots floated up under the invisible power of the ritual, circling the mutated Colin Iliad, using some sort of mysterious connection to awaken some of the memories of this peerless demon hunter. It was the experience of hunting demons. It was him painfully ending the former chief's attack with his own hands. It was his life of defeating powerful monsters again and again. These manifestations appeared like painting on an altar. Sometimes they would be integrated into Colin Iliad, and sometimes they would be extracted from him, helping him define himself. He maintained a certain level of clarity during the extreme pain and changes. Only at this moment did Colin Iliad finally understand the essence of the ritual. As a Sequence 4 demon hunter, the hunting of every powerful creature was a battle of intense mental catharsis. It left a deep impression in his life. With these powerful mental imprints, he was able to locate himself after consuming the potion and not be lost in pain and madness. This made Colin Iliad recall a term recorded in some of the books in the City of Silver: anchor. At Sequence 3, he was considered a deity in a certain sense. He could respond to prayers within a certain range, so an anchor was required. As this wasn't the level of an angel, an anchor didn't necessarily need to be a believer. It could be replaced by other things, such as the clear marks in one's life that had meaning in mysticism. In the memories that had been awakened, Colin Iliad slowly regained his self-awareness. He felt his body again and grasped its changes. Right on the heels of that, a layer of wings formed from illusory light extended out from behind him. They fused with the surrounding paintings as they constantly shrank inwards. The surface of Colin Iliad's body collapsed into a silver armor that was firm and beautiful, but it didn't possess any weight to it. After the demon hunter advanced to a silver knight, due to the difference in the deity's blessing, there would be minute differences between silver knights. Previously, the leader of the King Court's chasers, Light Color Merskogen, had received blessings from the Giant King. Therefore, the various aspects of the Silver Knight domain were much stronger. On the other hand, Colin Iliad could occasionally make his body condense a silver rapier that could teleport. While in combat, it would appear at random during an attack, with beneficial tendencies, bringing about unpredictable changes. In addition, he could also obtain a certain uniqueness when using mercury liquefaction. As the silver armor finally took form, Colin Iliad had completed his advancement. Apart from not having a single vertical eye on his head, he was equivalent to a mythical creature. At this moment, he raised his right hand and waved it to the side. At a small hill outside the City of Silver, a silver beam erupted out of thin air. It tore apart everything around it, splitting the small hill into 2 halves. During Colin Iliad's advancement to Silver Knight, Derek Berg completed the bestowment ritual and obtained a small metal tube. Seizing the opportunity of the City of Silver's chief creating abnormalities and drawing away most of the attention, Klein suddenly reached out while in the ancient palace above the gray fog. He had summoned a bullet and death knell from the historical void. Right on the heels of that, he did a divination in advance, confirming that there weren't any signs of Ammon's parasites around Little Sun. Without any hesitation, he opened the revolver's cylinder and stuffed the deceit bullet into it. Puh! With a shake of his right hand, he closed the cylinder and used the mysticism connection to aim at the spot where he had died. Bang! He calmly pulled the trigger and fired the only bullet. At the same time, taking advantage of this beyonder effect, he willed Sephra Castle's powers into mobilizing. The gray fog boiled once again, including the space around them. A majestic but slightly dark energy surged out like a tidal wave, wrapping around the bullet, passing through the gap and shooting towards the real world. The light in Sephra Castle suddenly dimmed. Suppressing his fear and horror, Klein used Death Knell's historical projection to simulate the feeling of a sudden descent. He leaped towards the crimson star representing the sun and leaped towards the tiny tube of his blood. On the barren moors of Chernobyl, all of the Ammons wearing pointed hats raised their heads and looked at the lightning that streaked across the sky. They looked at a deep and quiet swath that even the lightning couldn't illuminate. The Ammons nudged their monocles, and after a moment of silence, they laughed. He doesn't seem like someone who can come up with such a solution. Palez. He joined this organization codenamed the Tarot Club. In the Berg household, in the City of Silver. The darkness in front of Derek suddenly turned dark, as if the candles in the room had been burned to ashes. To the residents of the City of Silver, this wasn't a good thing. Derek's eyes immediately lit up with the light of the sun. At that moment, bits of light burst out from the deep darkness like transparent squirming worms. The metal tube that Derek had received shattered automatically as fresh red blood floated out from it and suspended itself in midair. It didn't spread apart, but instead merged with the fragments of light. In just 2 or 3 seconds, these light fragments condensed into one, forming a huge ball of light. The spherical light ball stretched out and changed, quickly forming a figure. The figure had a deep outline and a cold expression. He wore a silk half-top hat and a black coat while holding a black iron-black revolver. It was none other than Jayaman Sparrow. Having successfully deceived the laws of mysticism, Klein used the help of his old blood to complete his resurrection. Without needing any introduction, Derek had already recognized the visitor through his special temperament. After being stunned for a moment, he instinctively revealed an uncontrollable smile. Mr. World. Klein raised his head slightly and looked at Little Sun, who seemed to have grown taller. He subconsciously reached out and pressed down on his top hat. He then nodded gently and said, "I will be in the forsaken land of the gods during this period of time. However, I have to leave now. I can't lure Ammon into the City of Silver. If there's a chance in the future, I will cooperate with you." Having understood what Mr. World meant, Derek nodded heavily and said, "All right." Just as Klein raised his right hand and was about to snap his fingers to leave with flaming jump, Derek looked at him and suddenly pointed to the storage cabinet in the room. "Mr. World, do you need to bring some food with you? There are mushrooms that can produce milk." Klein controlled himself, not letting the corners of his mouth twitch. He maintained his cold attitude and said, "I don't drink milk." As soon as he finished speaking, he snapped his fingers, causing a scarlet flame to fly out of his pocket, wrapping around him like water. The fire quickly dissipated like falling stars, and Klein's figure disappeared from Derek Berg's room. Outside the City of Silver, in a deformed forest, flames flashed continuously, extending all the way to the moors leading to the north. After he truly left the City of Silver, did Klein slow down his footsteps and summon a lantern from the historical void. He had long expected that the revival process would go so smoothly. After all, once he found the correct solution, there was no way that Ammon could stop him. In the City of Silver, Ammon only had a few avatars at the sequence 4 or 3 level, so Klein could use his true vision to locate them and eliminate them ahead of time. And if they could form an avatar at the sequence 2 level, Klein, who had gained initial control of Sephra Castle, could stir powers at the power of an angel, allowing him to easily fight such an avatar while being above the gray fog and would stay undefeatable since he couldn't be attacked. He had the confidence to defeat his opponent. If Ammon moved his true body to the City of Silver, then Klein could choose to revive at his original spot. Of course, Ammon could create an avatar that was almost at Sequence 1 and send him to the City of Silver. However, under the premise of the conservation of Beyonder characteristics, how many avatars could he create? Not more than 2. As for Klein, he could split his remaining blood into multiple portions. He could use the bestowment ritual to send them to Mr. Hanged Man, to Ma'am Hermit, and to the Star Leonard. There were too many spots where he could revive, so there was no way that Ammon could guard all of them. This was an above-board plan based on his own level, Beyonder powers, and the special ability of Sephira Castle. Before he attempted to revive himself, Klein was already quite certain of the outcome. The only thing he was worried about was that deceit would be detected by Ammon ahead of time, allowing him to interfere in a timely manner, causing his respawn location to change. Fortunately, his divination had confirmed that the level of danger wasn't high. This was one of the reasons why he dared to try. Phew, I've really escaped from Ammon. As he advanced amidst the dim yellow light, Klein felt the presence of his body, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Of course, he knew very well that he was going to encounter the relentless pursuit of Ammon's main body and various avatars.